Alan, the suspect, due to appear in court in the next few hours, so we'll keep across that for you. But let's bring in Jason Pack, who is a retired FBI special agent and is currently the CEO of MediaRep Global Strategies. Jason, good to have you with us. What is the focus right now of the FBI and the Secret Service?
Well, right now, the FBI is going through the evidence they've collected as a result of the search warrants they've executed in this case, which is, I'll remind you, is just more than 36 hours old almost. So they've done a lot of work at two different locations. So the FBI Los Angeles field office, where the suspect lived, went to his house, talked to his relatives, talked to neighbors. They're trying to gather a few things. First of all, they're trying to gather the digital evidence from his home, whether that are laptops or phones, any types of things that may lead to that motivation. Secondly, they're talking to neighbors to see if they may have heard anything or may have had any interaction with him that also might lead to a motive. And they're also looking for video. They want to be able to piece the suspect's movements from the time he left his home to the time he got to Washington, D.C. So that whole train trip, they're going to be looking at recreating that and going and looking for clues throughout those places. And at the same time, the evidence folks there in Washington field office, where the shooting actually happened, they'll be looking at the ballistics and the forensic evidence there, as well as talking to witnesses at that hotel. So a lot of that will be turned over to the U.S. Attorney's Office there. We talked about your colleague there, Peter, talked about that initial appearance today in federal court. Well, the evidence they're gathering throughout the week here will be turned over to them to see if there are any more appropriate federal charges to bring against the suspect.
And Jason, in your mind, were there security failings here, or perhaps more importantly, screening failures that occurred?
Yeah, I have the utmost respect for the U.S. Secret Service. They're the best in the world at it. I think two things can be true at the same time. I kind of look at these security plans, particularly at known venues, Lucy, kind of like an iron skillet from back in the day when your grandmother told you how to use it. You want to season that thing. You don't want to get a new one every year. So the Washington Hilton has been a venue for lots of high-profile events. The Secret Service, Washington Metro Police, and all the other law enforcement certainly know how to do that. I do think, however, that they may take a look at these screening procedures. I was at the event 3 years ago, and it seemed to be a lot of security, but in talking to people who were there Saturday, I don't know that they didn't, it seemed like there was as much. So I think they'll take a look at those plans, make some of those tweaks, and I really think the bottom line here is he was a guest at the hotel and got past that first layer of screening. So they may take a look at how to revisit that for people who are in the hotel. It's kind of a balance because, you know, you don't want to intrude on the guests, but at the same time, you have to secure the president. So their plan worked. The person did not get close to the protectees. So in that sense, it worked. But I think in every plan, you want to take a look at that and see what you could do better. And I think that's what they'll do.
Do you think, though, inevitably, Jason, this is going to change the whole way that high-profile events like this happen?
Well, I think you have to look at what intelligence you have available and kind of read the room as far as what's going on in their country. There's no doubt that we live in a politically divided society. Unfortunately, a lot of people with strong opinions on both sides. So I think you will have to change how things are done a little bit, but I don't think they're going to want the people who use violence to win, either on the left side or the right side or even in the middle. Wherever you are on that, most people come down against violence. And so to that end, I think they're going to try to keep having it where they want to have it and see if there are ways at all that can be changed to make it even more secure. In the end, they don't want to let the terrorists and the people who use violence win, Lucy.
But nonetheless, Jason, there must be real concern amongst the community that you're involved in, amongst politicians as well, about this kind of extremism, threats against public officials, where this could all lead.
Yeah, true. You've had the most prominent journalists in the United States there with the high-profile cabinet officials, and a lot of times journalists get to report on these things, these active shooters. Few of them have been a part of that, and now they have that experience under the belt, and they know just what that terror feels like. So you're right. I think they will be a little more concerned, but I think the Secret Service and law enforcement officials working with the hotel security or wherever they are will get to the bottom of it and find a safe way. Security is always a balance. I know the politicians and the principals will always want to do a lot more than what the Secret Service and security folks want to do. So it's always a balance based on intelligence at the time that the law enforcement folks have.
Okay, Jason Pack, very good to have you with us. Thank you so much. We will continue to keep across this story as well.